I love that song. Shout out to Frankie. I love that song, right? I love old school music, old school classics like that is it does something to the soul, right? It just does something to the soul. I don't think they make music music that pure anymore. And what I mean by pure, I also just mean the simple use of instruments back then, right? It was very basic, real instruments, simple beats, very simple beats, because they didn't have the high tech complex supercomputers, auto tune things that we have today, where we could do all types of crazy, unique, intricate things with music. So I always love going back and listening to a simpler time, a basic time, but at some ways it was, music was actually even better back then. So um, better is subjective, though. I should say more pure. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is the ENS Update Show. I'm very excited to do this. I'm very happy to be here with you all. It seems like I woke up and there's just a lot of news around the ENS space today, and I'm gonna give a brief run through, and then I'll allow some of the other speakers to dive a little bit deeper. We do have a very special guest with us today. We have, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, boss. I think it's Yosef. Yosef from PWN DAO, which is basically a DAO that provides an easy way to leverage any token, including NFTs, um, with no risk of liquidation. So that's a pretty interesting concept. Wanted to get them on the show, and I think this is what the future of Web3 is, right? And by the way, this is not financial advice. We're not telling anybody to go take out any loan of any sort. We're just learning about what this DAO is doing, and we'll probably end up seeing a lot of other DAOs and platforms and things like this within the Web3 space as this space continues to grow. So great. It'll be interesting to see what Yosef and his team is all about. But before we get to you, Yosef, I do want to introduce some of the speakers that we have on stage. Yeah, I'll start off with Looks Rare. It looks like Looks Rare, the actual platform, might be bidding on their ENS domain for 50 ETH. Their ENS domain is listed for 50 ETH on OpenSea, but they placed the bid on Looks Rare. It makes sense, right? It makes sense that the competitor is not going to want to buy and give that 2.5% fee to a competitor. So they're placing their bid. So Master said that deal will be closed soon. Let's see how that goes. And I can never really say this name right, but Hubie, I think I want to say, just announced that they're supporting ENS domains. They integrated it with their platform, and that's a huge step in the Web3 space, right? It takes one at a time, day by day, brick by brick. We're building something special here. So it's not going to happen at once. It's seeing these small little moves, small little company by company by company by company, day by day, starting to integrate, incorporate by their ENS domains. And before you know, we're going to look back in 4 years, and we're going to say we came a long way, but we're here for the entire journey. So that's absolutely amazing as well. But with that being said, I want to go over to our man Ron. Ron, good morning, man. How you doing?
Hey, GM Kevin. Yeah, I'll tell you how to say it, and Master can tell you how to really say it. But it's Huobi, which means fire currency, which is how they say cryptocurrency. So we'll have Master say it if you want to hear the real pronunciation. But yeah, that's exciting news, right? That Huobi, that's a big exchange, and they're offering the support for ENS. That's exciting, and yeah, I was pumped. I was pumped too to see Masters tweet about looks rare. So that's cool. And hats off to whoever thought to do that. And yeah, good stuff happened. I saw a little jump in the floor on the Arabic 3 digits. So that's cool. I know you're a holder of those 51, 59. Of course, my PFP's rocking. I don't know how to say it, but my shirt's in Arabic. I kind of got a little Arabic vibe going on my cheetah here, but yeah, good. Glad to see how I was on a great space. Leo Al Habibi had a great space. A lot of people were on last night for the 999 and 10K club, and there's like 160 people on at one time talking about that. And then yeah, good stuff happening. I wanted to a little later after Yosef talks, I want to hear from Flexter I was on a call, listening on a call yesterday. He literally spent an hour and a half, 2 hours uh, onboarding somebody to ENS and then to get their ENS max. I don't know if the guy was stoned out of his gourd or anything. I mean, he literally had to have him like Venmo Flexter the money, but and he got back in. I think Flexter, if I'm not mistaken, has a little bit of a military background because he kind of had to go drill sergeant on the guy. But it's really cool that, and the reason it is because we've all done it. We've all onboarded someone from scratch where it took us an hour or two, and we're just ready to freaking end it all. But it's that's how it happens, right? That's how it happens. I mean, unless you're ENS punks, then you just go into a talent agency and onboard 100 celebs. But the rest of us, a lot of times, it's just one by one. So anyway, later on, I want to hear from Flexter, and I really appreciate that what they're doing, and that's why I jump on their spaces and whatever. I think there's some good synergy. Whether I know really all Flexner wants to do is shill his NFT Maxi PFPs, but hey, in the meantime, we're onboarding a lot of people into the ENS domain space. So anyway, shout out to him and what those guys are doing, and yeah, I look forward to hearing more details about what's going on, man. Love to. Every day something's happening, right? Every day you wake up, don't know what we're going to talk about, and then Kev has to cut us off at the hour and a half mark because there's too much to talk about. So looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Ron. I do want to say real quick, um, about the Arabic digits, right? I think our conviction was tested with the Arabic digits. But the biggest thing I want to say is this, y'all. I wish I sold my Arabic digit at the top at 6 ETH, right? There's a fine line between being a smart investor slash trader and then, I don't know. Some people will say I'll hold it to zero, but I'll be the first one to tell you when it reaches 6 ETH high, I should have sold because I could have ended up going back and buying 3, 4 more at these current levels. But you could always look back and say should have, would have, could have. But the more of the story I'm trying to make here, ladies and gentlemen, um, if the offer makes sense, if the deal makes sense, do it. Take it. Take the liquidity. Take the money. Right. Especially when things reach new all time highs, or it's life changing money that you could do more things with. Because 9 times out of 10, it's gonna go back down. It's gonna dip. And if you're really worried about it, you know, if you're really worried about it, just go back in and buy it again and keep the profit. So I'm the first one to say I'm still holding my Arabic 3 digit. I only own one. I should have sold it at the 6 ETH high. It dipped all the way below 1 ETH. But here we are. We'll see. We'll see what the coming days and weeks go for that. But good morning, Master. How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, everyone. So, Kev, one more time, I heard you spelling the Chinese wrong. It's not Hubi, it's Huobi, okay? Filecoin, literally in China, Huobi. And I think Ron has a very a long time, cultural thing with Chinese related. He always does that better than you do. Yeah, today we see very interesting thing that looks rare that is receiving offer, and it looks like they are offering 50 ETH on Looks Rare platform while it is being actually listed for 50 ETH on OpenSea. And if you guys see, Looks Rare's Twitter, they replied some message, and it's just look like I'm looking at it, but not very clear attitude yet. I guess most people guess that they might be interested in looks rare.is and they want to buy it, but they don't want that transaction to happen on OpenSea. Otherwise, as a marketplace, it will look, they are not looking so good, right, on competitors' platform. But I mean, to me, this is a risky move for them to do that thing, to like make an offer on their own platform while they neglect that listing, or they wish they expect that owners' expectations 50 ETH. They know it. So in most cases, they make the offer and he will take it. That's the normal thing. But when we make the 50 ETH and from a valid account, actually it's a valid account that you guys can trace into details. It has a lot of history from valid account. Although it's not confirmed, 100% confirmed by Looks Rare, but we know someone's expectation, someone loves it, someone want to buy it. But if you are going to buy the domain, the last thing you want to do is give the other your attitude about it, right? When you sell the domain, you must pretend you must need this domain. You will never let go otherwise. Something. When you buy the domain, you will pretend to be okay. This is one of my options. Yeah, I can always go to the uh, other alternatives. Something like that. But if you are giving a very serious, uh, offer like that and looks like it is yourself, which means looks rare, understand the value of ENS, looks rare, understand they cannot live without that unless you do a rebranding something. If you know others know that, it's like playing Texas Hold'em and they know what your card is. It is very dangerous and risky. Someone else might snipe the 50 E's on OpenSea and they want to list it for like 1,000 for looks rare. But although we have to admit that this is the worst case because it would be very bad for the ENS economy. We always hope all the brand names go to the true owner with some of the late bird fee, which I believe in most cases 50 East is a very is kind of a reasonable late bird fee. This is something the owner must can afford, right? But doing this, I hope the buyer will see that offer and he will accept it. Let's all hope so. But yeah, I think it's a bit risky for them to do so. Just because they want this to happen on looks rare, so it doesn't look so weird that their own domain they are purchased on OpenSea. But what matters, right? The most important part is they get the domain. And I mean, to serve that target, they should do whatever it takes the cost to mitigate all the potential risks. Like OpenSea themselves, even buying their OpenSea.is on OpenSea. But yeah, it looks like very similar. But let's hope the owner will sell the name to uh, to looks rare, so that looks rare and OpenSea both of them will get their .es, and you guys realize what that means right after name wrapper, right? If they hold their names, then OpenSea can give all OpenSea users a subdomain looks rare doing the same thing, and each of our account won't be look like OpenSea.io slash my name TGIRBX or 5159, something like that. It will be something totally different. It will be more interesting. It can be on chain. We can have we can have OpenSea and looks rare on chain subdomains for our wiring or something. Yeah, the game is much funner than right now, definitely. But I mean, we still need a couple steps to make right after name wrappers going live because we know it will be used by lots of projects moving forward. And also, I also pinned another Twitter that by this time tomorrow, which is actually not so late, but 8 a.m. on the U.S. Eastern time, I will be speaking on behalf of ENS community with the number one, chain in Japan, so that lots of the communities there, I will try to speak on behalf of ENS and tell them what is the blockchain domain and what are my suggestion recommendation to all you guys new freshmen. I want to make sure all the newcomers, all the incremental requirements and the money and the people will have some education, will have some basic education. Otherwise, when they see when some new domain projects, they always tell them the story about .com, while themselves are definitely not the crypto.com, and they always tell them the hash associations. They will say, "Oh, cool," but before that, you need to know hash association. Everyone can do it in blockchain. Everyone is free to open a smart contract. But the problem is whether or not the wallet and browsers will support it. That's the most important part I'm going to share with them. So always keep in mind that don't simply buy the name because the prefix looks so good. The suffix will determine the majority of the value, in my opinion. So yeah, don't just get the name because the prefix is so good. Don't you just think and ask yourself twice why you can get the name so easily if this is still so good, right? And why everyone else is still later than you? Why you are so smart? Is that because you did enough learning, or you did much comparison, or you have a good teacher for you on this, or just because it could be a rug something? People are always easier to believe things he want to believe instead of the true fact, but always focus on the fact and analyze and use your mind, because your wallet and your mind are both yours. You put your own bet and you take the risk or you take it again. Okay, so that's all I'm going to share with you guys. Thanks much. You have a great day.
Thank you, Master. I just set my reminder. If you want, I'm not sure if you pinned it. Okay, there you did. Yep, I just set my reminder for Master's space that he's going to be speaking on. You guys should do the same as well. Let's go show some support and show that the ENS community rolls deep. Good morning, NFT Verse. How you doing, man?
Ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah ooh ah ooh. GM Kev, GM to the community. Kev, I love that music too, man. Definitely. Just wanted to give you guys a little sample real quick. GM 5159, GM Ron, GM Master. Thanks as always, guys, for hosting the space. It's always good to get more and more people in here. When we tapped in this morning, it was I think it was like 30 something people in here, and then it jumped up to 95 really quick. So make sure, if you guys haven't already, make sure you retweet the space out. Let's get some more people in here. Got a feeling it's going to be a great conversation today. Kev, you touched on something real specific this morning when you kind of just shared with the community the time, kind of, you looking back at, your Arabic digit, and when it went all the way up to 6 ETH, and you didn't sell it, and now you're kind of just thinking about that. I think that we're all gonna be in that place at some point in time during these different runs that's going to happen with digit, with words, with names, with all types of ENS domains, and you have to be strategic about, when you want to, flip a domain, and how long you want to hold on to some certain domains. Kev, we talked about this before about, splitting out that portfolio of ENS domains that you hold, and understanding which ones you want to flip, which ones are medium length holds, and which ones are long term holds. It's important, so you don't regret. And I'll say this, so you don't have any type of regret going back saying to yourself, I wish I would have. So you got to be able to organize your domains, and understand which ones you want to place on the market, to gain some type of profit or some type of return at this stage. It's still super early. I always say there's still not enough buyers in this space yet. I think there's a group of buyers, so to speak, but there are more and more buyers that are entering in this space each and every day. So, the conviction is, whether or not, you can hold out. The truth about it is, do you have the capital in order to push these things out a little bit further and be in it for a long ride? 1 to 2 years, I say, that we'll start to see the peak performance of some of these ENS domains and some of the buys that'll happen. But man, you got to make sure that you're ready to be able to push out those certain ones in your portfolio to hold on for a profit that you're willing to accept. So I look forward to the discussion today, Master. I definitely am going to try to jump in on your interview. I look forward to hearing that. And yeah, there's a lot of things happening each and every day, little by little, like Kev said, brick by brick. This house, this mansion is being built. So you can either be in the inside of the mansion, once it's built, or you can be on the outside. So those are certain things that you got to think about. I look forward to the discussion today. Welcome, community, to the number one ENS show, Twitter space on Twitter. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, NFT Verse. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to do a little quick hard reset of the room. This is the ENS Update Show. We do this every Monday through Friday from about 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. This is an open forum for the entire community. Any questions, comments, anxieties, frustrations that you have, that you want to share with us or share with the community, feel free to request on stage and we'll try to get you up here. With that being said, I do want to go to Flexer and then we'll go over to our special guest, Yosef, to talk about the PWN DAO. Go ahead, Flexer.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. 5159, Ron. Thank you for the beautiful intro there, brother. And Master, thank you so much for helping me decipher the foreign language on the NFT Maxis PFP. There's some foreign languages there, guys, that we couldn't read, and Master has helped us kind of decipher those. So I appreciate that. No, I just want to jump in here, man, and I want to tell you that ENS is where it's at, like 100%. ENS is where it's at. So on my space, so I have a soft space. I have a great co-host, Stephen Miller. That's my gigabrain that helps us educate these guys. He taught us how to mint from the contract, how to do the underscore. We were in, it's called The Vine with Flexter. So if you guys want to check out my space, it's every day at 5 o'clock. But we were in our space, and Stephen Miller taught us how to do an underscore through contract and mint an underscore through the contract. And man, if you look back during MySpace and when Steven taught us that, like 100 underscore registrations went through. Okay, it was absolutely amazing. The people that were listening in the space that got the education, that got the information to move forward and mint directly through the contract. And in saying that, no more than 24 hours, here come the dollar signs, here come the @ signs. Like, so I think everybody knows I am old AF. Like, I don't know how to do it. I can't read Etherscan contracts. Quad Rockets actually is going to help me go over it one by one, because I have a few domains to extend that are like malformed that I can't do yet. So he's going to try to help me do some of that stuff through the contract. And yeah, as far as Ron was saying, there's a gentleman, never had a MetaMask account, never had a domain, never had a PFP, nothing. And he just decided to join our space because he's seen the community love for ENS and ENS Maxis. And he said, man, I want one. I want a domain. Can you help me? And bro, let me tell you, we spent probably 4.5 hours with him one night. He was smashed to the gills. And our lovely ENS Granny, .eth, Miss Christine, that's her code, by the way, or that's her handle, ENS Christine, ENS Granny. So I'm not making fun. It's ENS Granny.eth. Christine, lovely, come on and said, hey guys, let's put him to bed and bring him back tomorrow and do it. And the community did exactly that. We put his ass to bed. And yes, Ron, I was an Army. I am an Army veteran. So we put him to bed. We got him up here on my space the next day, and step by step, we went through. We got him a MetaMask account. We did everything, and he still really couldn't do it. So, you know, he had to cash out me the money. You know, I know you're laughing, 5159, but he had to cash out me the money. You know, I took screenshots of everything just to know everything was legit. Like, everybody was in the space when we did it. It was so much fun. We were just cracking up. But he did send me the money. I put it on his MetaMask account, and we went through the process. And the best part about the process is that the first domain he wanted, he said in the space, like he said it, OTCQX. It's a stock ticker. Man, by the time we were done, that domain was gone. Okay, that domain was gone, bro. So he was crazy. He was so pissed off. He's like, "Oh, somebody stole my domain." And it's like, man, that's how it works. You better get them quick because they are going fast. And so he did get OTC MKT, like market. OTC, it's a stock thing. So OTC MKT.eth. So he got his very first .eth, and at the same time, we got him his very first maxi. And the funny part is that Big D triple dollars sent him another domain. What did I do.eth? So the domains are getting minted, guys. They are the future. I believe they, now, I have to do the plug for the maxis. I love that team. They're keeping us engaged. But you're going to have to match up your digital identity sooner or later with these domains. And I think Maxis is the way to go with that. I think that's what the team had planned all along, is for us to match our domains with a profile picture. Dylan Satoshi, I was in Sadaf's space like maybe a week ago. I've been up for 14 days, guys, so I'm so sorry. We try to run those Maxi spaces 24 hours a day. But I was in Sadaf's space, Dylan Satoshi was talking, and when he said that like your PFP and your domain can be like your resume, oh man, blew the top of my head off. It just like you're right, that it can actually be a resume. It can actually be moving forward. The digital presence that you put forward in the community, because I don't think anybody knows what the metaverse is. To be quite honest, I think the metaverse, quote quote, is still being built, and nobody really knows what's going on the other side, quote quote. I probably shouldn't plug them, but yeah, so really excited about the ENS space, really excited about the ENS Maxis domain, or I'm sorry, and we're going to do as much as we can do in my space to educate people, get them onboarded, get them their domains. If they want a PFP, get them a PFP. I do focus mostly on domains myself. Just, I'm going to put it out there. Top 1,000 holders. I got a little over 200 in my hot wallet. So and it's great. And I get offers on them all the time. So I tell people all the time, if you're going to mint a domain name, make it short, check it in the dictionary, make sure it's spelled right, because these guys are new. They don't know what they're doing. And if we can help them and we can educate, that's God's work, man. That's what you're supposed to do in life, is help each other. So bless you, 5159, for letting me take the stage. And thank you, everybody in the room, for listening to me. Stephen Miller, I see him in the room. He co-hosts with me on The Vine with Flexter. That's our community soft spaces for Maxis. So please join us every day, 7 days a week at 5 o'clock. And it goes probably until 9743 wakes up in the Netherlands. So I probably will go 10, 12 hours on that space, if we can, just to keep vibe going, just to keep the movement going forward. So bless you guys, and thank you for having me. 5159, Ron and Master, bless all of you in the room.
Wow, thank you, Flex. That was huge, right? That's amazing. Love that you're pushing the community forward, and you're doing the groundwork, you're doing the footwork. But a big thing here that I got from that conversation is how much of a nuisance it is to onboard somebody into the space, right? How difficult it is to onboard a non-crypto native in the Web3 space. And this is something that we've experienced since the beginning, right? It's not an easy thing to do, especially for somebody who doesn't own any type of crypto, or probably just heard about it but doesn't own any Bitcoin, Ethereum, or anything of that nature. It's extremely hard to do, and we talked about this, we said this before. Until the UX is improved, that we can never fully reach mass adoption. I know Rainbow Wallet, you probably should have directed him towards Rainbow Wallet. Rainbow Wallet, you could set up an account, get your ENS domain, and attach a PFP to it all at once. But Ron, do you want to add on to that, bro?
I'm sorry on that 5159. I will say another thing, guys. If you are new in the space and you are onboarding, do it sober. Okay, I cannot say this enough. The guy was just trashed. Okay, and it's okay. I'm a very patient man, so I did try to help him as much as we could the first night, and we did get it done the second night. But just a public service announcement: don't go doing this stuff, playing with your crypto while you're stoned or drunk or anything like that, guys, because your finger is quick and your mouse might be softer than you think, and you're going to click on something that you don't want to click on. So sorry about that. Thank you, 5159.
Yeah, I was just going to add the beautiful thing. You hear Michael Saylor talk about it all the time on Bitcoin, and it's even more true with ENS domains. What investment do you know that as soon as you buy it, you're 100% about the community, about onboarding, about pushing that to its potential? That's the power of Web3. And literally to see these guys, and I didn't even know about the 4 hours the night before, because I sleep probably the 4 hours that I sleep a night. I didn't hear it, but grinding that out, we've all done it. We've all done it to the point where we're sorry we offered, But yeah, I love the idea of Rainbow Water. I'm excited. I downloaded it, haven't had some family stuff go on, over the last couple of days, so I didn't have a chance to try it, but I've downloaded it. I'm looking forward to seeing anything that makes it easier, like NFT. We always quote NFT verse from one of our very first spaces. It's about wallets, and then it's about ENSs, right? And I love how Rainbow Wallet seems to make it easy. So I'm excited to try that out. And in anything, that user interface is so important. It used to dog us in the early days of the .com. We didn't. Web 2's perfected that, but early on, Web 1, it sucked, and it was really clunky to get around as well. So that interface is important. So but yeah, appreciate everybody out here who's onboarding people to the ENS space, and it's sometimes it's a lot of work.
Awesome, awesome. Before we go over to ENS Punks, we do have Yosef, who's been waiting very patiently. Yosef, good morning. How you doing? Thank you for waiting patiently. If you want to give us an introduction about who you are and what you do, we'll start there.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for hosting. Thanks for inviting me and the Pawn crew. So yeah, I'm like couldn't be more excited to see there's like such a wide community formed around ENS names. I've been in a space for quite a while. I spent the last 4 years within the Ethereum Foundation, and I've been watching like ENS spin out from the foundation and see like Nick Johnson and the team to build up the entire ecosystem essentially nowadays. And there's like one thing that especially resonated earlier in the chat, which was the long-term perspective. I think it's roughly like 4 years since there was a workshop and a hackathon. It was like a small ENS hackathon. It was like I don't know, like 40 people max. I think it was like beginning of August in London, fairly small setup, just a weekend. And that was actually the hackathon where I think it was Pedro Gomez, who is the CEO of What Connect, and Billy Rennekamp, who now runs the Interchain Foundation and the Cosmos ecosystem, together coded up the solution for turning ENS names into NFTs. So before that, ENS names were just like pretty unique like setups and smart contracts, but I think that hackathon kind of like changed everything, for good, from perspective of like the accessibility of ENS names and kind of extending the potential usage, and also being more open to much wider community than just like a bunch of nerds that were messing up with ENS names before. And to give you a bit of a background of like Pawn and what we are building and why, and especially is relevant since like ENS names now are not just these like tools for making it like easier to type in an Ethereum address, but actually turn into like a full-fledged digital asset, which can hold a lot of value. So the mission of Pawn is essentially enable the same use of any digital asset, any standardized token. So in Ethereum sense, it's like any ERC20, any 721 NFT, or any 1155 token, to have the same use as a real world asset from a financial standpoint. So we essentially want to enable collateralization of like all of these assets, all any asset class that would fit into this like digital wealth notion, to enable crypto natives to just like use these assets the same way people in the real world, or just like boomers who have a lot of like real estate or were collecting art, can use those real world assets in order to secure financing, secure loans, get mortgages, etc. Because what we see today is that there is this like entire, and it's kind of resonates within the bankless and like crypto native space. There is like an entirely new generation of people who are crypto natives, who have digital assets, and our thinking is this is just the beginning. Really, this is like a few, like 100,000 people maybe these days, but this will be like millions eventually, or even billions in like the Gen Z and like the new generations, who will consider the value of digital assets as something that's normal. It's like today you spoke about like adoption and like bringing people into the space. Obviously, that's like one part of the equation, like bringing the people who are not yet crypto natives into the crypto native mindset. But my expectation is that essentially like every generation that comes like like after Gen Zs, and like starting with Gen Zs and millennials, will be crypto native by default, because the tools that we build, and ENS names are like a prime example. The tools that we build today already have like a 10x improvement in terms of user experience and just the stuff that's possible with them. Like if you look at there are people here from that have been participating in like the dot-com boom, and I'm sure like made money on like regular domain names. Like even today, like after tens of years of the existence of like traditional DNSs, it's kind of a pain for like a non-tech person to actually like set up a DNS and like set up their name properly, and go to registrar and like make sure everything works. But like with ENS, it's actually like try selling a domain. Like you will need like 2 or 3 intermediaries. But if you just like work with digital assets or like native assets, it's super simple. You just like do it in a contract, do it through OpenSea, and it's all done in like one simple transaction. So we're basically like super optimistic about like this being the future, and the NS names obviously being part of the future. So like the perspective on ENS names that we take at Pawn is that, well, ENS names are the perfect collateral for getting a loan. Because, well, it's an asset of clear utility. Like you already have value in just like having the name and setting up the address behind it. And as people mentioned, like like brands or even like individuals can link this with their personalities, with their reputation, and so on. So there is a clear utility. It's obviously super simple to use them, but you can essentially create your entire like identity around an ENS name. So even now, when we are talking about in DeFi mostly about like over collateralized loans, I think there are scenarios where a person who basically has built their entire profile around an ENS name will be able to just like use that ENS name as collateral to even get a mortgage, because their entire identity is based around it. And the other aspect of ENS names, which is like which makes them well fitted for being used as collateral, is that, well, it's an asset which can sit in an escrow, but you can still use it. You don't lose the benefit of the name while it sits in a smart contract escrow. That means that you can just set it up and you can take a year-long loan against it, and it will still work fine. And if you like pay back the loan, you'll be able to like reset it again, and like maybe move it to your new address or something. Another aspect is that like even there's obviously the namespace is limited. Like if you didn't get your desired ENS name, you're probably salty. You might have made some offers on OpenSea or LooksRare to get them, just as you saw with LooksRare. But if you actually look at them from perspective of like, hey, you can use this as collateral, even the people who would be the potential buyers can actually still benefit from even the pure existence of the name. So if there's someone sitting on a bunch of names and they're looking for extra liquidity, then the people who would otherwise be the buyers, but like don't have quite the money to make an offer that would be accepted, could still offer like a partial loan, or like partial loan to value on that ENS name, and they can still benefit. The worst case scenario is that, well, they get the ENS name with a discount. The better scenario is that they actually make the interest and can actually benefit from like not having their desired name. So that's nifty as well. So yeah, I didn't talk much about Pawn, which is the general mindset around it. But essentially, Pawn is a token pawn shop today. So you can literally use any token as collateral, and you can get loans against it. Like if you go to Pawn or pwn.xyz, you can try it now already. It's live on Ethereum mainnet and Polygon. But what we are building with Pawn, again, in the long run, is a platform and a protocol which will enable like any crypto native not to have to sell their digital wealth again. As simple as like, instead of having to sell your crypto, your domains, and like getting cash and like buying real estate, with Pawn, we want to allow you to just collateralize your entire digital wealth or a portion of it for sake, and secure a loan against it, and then just like basically back a mortgage with your digital assets and go and buy real estate, or go and buy like more digital wealth, whatever you seek. So if you are crypto native, or if you feel you don't want to lose exposure to these like assets of the future, then definitely check out Pawn. Or even if you're interested in just becoming a lender and like getting some APY, definitely you will already see plenty of ENS names that you can lend against today.
So let me just ask you a quick question, Yosef. And hey, thanks for educating us on the history of how ENS became an NFT. So that I didn't know that history. So that was awesome, and I appreciate you sharing that insight. So what you're telling me, if I'm hearing it right, is if I have $1 million that I want to lend, and I can go in and I can lend that against specific ENSs, or like he'd never do it, but let's just say Master put up coin.eth, I could loan him $1 million against that, and then worst case I make my interest, best case he defaults, and now I own coin.com, right? The coin.eth.
Yeah, exactly. I guess like with the, like depends what you want. Like if you want just to get yield, then the best case would be getting the yield. If you actually want to get the name, then the best case will be getting the name and the loan defaulting. But exactly, that's what you can do today.
Cool. No, that's that's how Aave kind of started. I don't remember what it was called back then, but I remember that you could go in and you could make loans. So that's a great concept, and I like it. I like it.
So just to clarify, it's other users taking on the loans, or is it the actual DAO itself taking on?
So yeah, currently the protocol is completely non-custodial and is peer-to-peer. The DAO, well, currently there is not even a fee in the protocol. So like essentially all the interest that you pay to someone else, to the other peer, to the lender. In the next version, we're going to introduce a fee the same way OpenSea charges a fee on the throughput and the sales made through the platform. And then the DAO will be the collector of that fee, and the DAO will be able to like parameterize and essentially update the contracts and like add new modules and so on.
Okay, and how's the this is my last question, and I'll pass it around. How's the value determined, right? Like you get what I'm saying? Like if I wanted to do 5159.eth, how would you say? Like, is there a limit to what I could ask for based off of what you guys think the domain is worth? Like, how does that actual evaluation process work?
Yeah, so essentially like Pawn as a platform and a protocol, it doesn't enforce pricing. So what we try to do as a platform is to provide you with data points which will make it easier for you to make it easier to the lender to price the loan. But there are certain like special cases, right? Like for instance, it's like much easier to price like a 3-letter or like a number ENS because there's already like an entire market based around it. If it's a specific name, then obviously it has like a different value to different people. So what we are encouraging obviously is just like increasing awareness within the sub communities where like you could have the potential buyer. But in terms of the general like I guess like algorithmic approach, the stuff that you should be looking at is the potential like relevance of that name. It's like if it's a generic like a human name, then the chances of actually that attracting like buyers is much higher. But that's the same reasoning as like with setting like a buy now price on a particular name. But what the lender would do, or what a kind of a rational lender would do on Pawn, is that they would kind of make the price estimate of like what's the market price of the particular name, and they would very likely go slightly lower depending on the duration of the loan. So basically, the process on Pawn is that the borrowers can enter the platform and they can create loan requests without the need of like having any transaction. They just basically like sign a block without making a transaction and say, hey, this is my collateral. I'm looking to buy X like many, I'm looking to borrow like X many DAI or ETH or whatever ERC token you want, or even like ENS tokens for a particular period. So currently platform is limited to 90 days because it's in testing, but we are going to lift that soon. And then, you either find someone who will decide to get that immediately, or the lenders can make different offers in terms of like the asset that they're willing to lend you, the duration for which they're willing to lend you, and the interest. And then you, as a borrower, essentially just like pick whatever offer fits best the need that you have. Again, like it's easier for some assets, like blue chip NFTs, like three-letter domain names. It's a bit harder for like generic names. And I'm sure like you guys like have discussed this previously of like how do you determine just a value of a potential value of a particular name, and the same reasoning applies here.
Love it. Love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Joseph, for coming on and explaining that concept. I think that will be a lot more regular and common in this Web3 space that we're building. It makes a lot of sense to me. If anybody has questions, feel free to come on to ask Joseph. With that being said, definitely give Joseph in the Pond DAO a follow. I look forward to seeing their progress in the months and years to come. We do have several people with their hands up, so I do want to keep the show moving here. Let's go ENS Punks, and then we'll go 0-0.
Yeah, GM Kev. I'll tell you what. Why don't you jump to Zero? He's got web finance. I can only imagine he's got some questions for Yosef about Pondau. It's probably right up his alley. I'll throw my hand back up and let this convo keep going and come back to me.
Gotcha, bro. Go ahead, 0-0.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Ron, 5159 and Master. I find it fascinating. I don't know if I'm going to pronounce your name right. Joseph, is it? I'm not sure if that's right. But in real life, I own a crypto loan company as well. And I did own a pawn business a few years ago. So coming into this space, I registered, pawn bank, pawning, pawn loans. I'm not saying I'm going to open those, but I find it very fascinating how Web3 is evolving so quickly. And my past and current businesses in real life are coming into Web3. I just have a question for you. How are you securing the assets or NFTs or ENS domains in a vault? Or are you using multi-sig, or how are you deploying that? The security measures. Just my question.
Yeah. Perfect question. Yeah. So the protocol is completely non-custodial. So there is a smart contract vault. All of the contracts are open source. The audit is also public. So essentially, if you go to pawn.xyz, or if you go directly to docs.pawn.xyz, you'll be able to like read all about the contracts, read all the documentation. The contracts are published on Etherscan and verified as well. If you go to audits.pawn.xyz, you can also read the audit report. And there is so the contracts are again completely non-custodial. There is no admin key. There is nothing we can do to change those. So completely immutable. When we are going to publish a new version, we are simply going to publish new contracts, which doesn't mean that the old contracts will stop working, but we'll just discontinue them in the interface. So for the user, even if Pondau disappear, those loans and those contracts will still function as long as Ethereum functions, obviously. There's like a bunch of new features that we are looking forward to announce, and we're actually happy that our Ethereum DevCon talk was accepted. We are going to talk about self-custodial smart contract wallet, which will go even further. It will actually enable you to hold the collateral in your wallets with restrictions until the loan is repaid, which then will enable you like all of the functionality that you would expect from like a mortgage property, which is like you can actually use all of that while it's actually being used as collateral. But this is something for the future, and something again that we want to announce and reveal at DevCon in Bogota.
I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's do a slight reset of the room here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ENS Update Show. We do a show every Monday through Friday from about 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't gave this space a retweet, please let's go ahead and give this a retweet. There's some gems being dropped here. There's some phenomenal speakers on stage. So let's go ahead and share this with some of your followers. Let's go over to ENS Punks. We'll go over to NFL Champion.
Yeah, all right. GM Kev 5159, Ron Master, all the speakers, awesome today, and the listeners in the community here. So, yeah, I really want to kind of give a thank you for everybody who kind of showed up to that space me and 3402 did yesterday. I really do appreciate the community support as of late, but always. And 00, special shout out to him. My man has been showing me how it's done with my own project. It's humbling, it's a little embarrassing, but it's also inspiring. I've like kind of not stopped working since yesterday, just trying to keep up. My man is giving out the like button.eth coins. He melted down my bot that tweets the transfers, and it is awesome to see because you can see the engagement he's getting. The community loves it. They love him. And it's special. It's everything I ever had envisioned with that project, seen it in front of my eyes. And it encouraged me and put some more damn effort into it because that could be special. It really came from the heart. It came, built by the community for the community. And I'm going to do some special things with it. I just kind of continue a little bit with the community. I'll shift gears actually. Subdomains. So yesterday, we in the space we talked about subdomains with Prim.eth. He's one of the main devs, and we learned some awesome stuff. Gary was in there doing what Gary does, chopping it up with Prim. But I mean, we learned stuff from like how it's going to work in practice. It's exciting. If you create a subdomain, even if you've already got one, right in ens.domains, you're going to have a button there, a wrap button. You can wrap up your subdomains just with a click of a button, and then is awesome. Not only did I feel the support of the community. 5159 was there, Ron was there, a bunch of the queens were there. Man, it was awesome because even Prim.eth shouted out 00 and ENS Vision, and that's what I love to hear. Like the team, the official devs building out the subdomain name wrapper. It's like when certain questions popped up about that practicality. How is it going to work in practice? The beautiful thing about the DAO that we talk about all the time, why it's different from Web 2. It's the community, and it's the fact it's not centralized. The fact that there's a DAO, a community treasury, goes to fund the builders, the projects. You got like these devs working on the official protocol saying, look, there's a gap between what we're doing and what that end product is going to be. And you're going to see people like and projects like ens.vision fill those gaps, and that is encouraging. It's like at any given point, the DAO's got so much money they could just do stuff internally and basically cut us all out, but they aren't doing that. That's the idea of decentralization. It's like not only do they there's like so much pie for everybody, they're not going to take any. In fact, they're going to pay us to enable us. And so kind of, that gets me back to this idea of, what I'm doing with those spaces with 3402. There are grants out there, $69,000 of DAO funding to, match any donations from the community to support these projects. Again, the people we're talking about is like Prim, who's doing the subdomain wrapper that we're talking about day in, day out. Now, shift gears for real to talk about the community. Flexter, I love the story of onboarding. Man, let's say Ron kind of joked about it, how like, I've done some onboarding work, but I've done those one-on-ones in the spaces, especially it seems like the later at night these spaces, the weirder those conversations are. So it's like, I know Flexer knows firsthand what I'm talking about. It's like, it just, those late night ones, it brings out those characters. But the irony is like, those are the people you want to get on board the most. So it's like, all right, you need your handheld, you need 2 hours of my time to get it set up. Let's do the damn thing. And you just have fun with it. And it's like, it's an experience. It's a story. But I pinned to the top. It's part of the reason, I created ensvideos.eth. my videos are about as bad as they come. But oftentimes, what you can do, it's like there's this great movie called shoot, what is this movie? It's Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And there's this one school, like the first radio station ever, and this politician gets out, and his kids start shaking the hand of one guy leaving the radio station, and the father, the politician's like, "What are you doing? We ain't one on one, and we's mass communicating," And then they just walk into the radio station to deliver that like campaign speech. So you can one-on-one it, but also this tech enables that mass communicating. So I pinned to the top and a video I made, how to register an ENS name, and it's 26 minutes long. Thing from like you got to get your hoodie on, you got to get your green tea, you got to get the tunes going, and that's how you do the damn thing. You have fun with it, and I bet you Flexer would have fun with it, and so feel free, like use these resources, pin them to the top. That's how you kind of get those analytics, and that's how you might not eat up 2 hours of your time. I do it all the time with Satoshi's video, his alpha time. People start asking how to build websites. Like I got my own video, but he's got a better one, so I point them to that. And so there is this one story, I've already talked about it multiple times, but there's a sports management company here in Miami. I onboarded them. But basically what I did 2 things, right? First, I loaded up the ETH leaderboard. So basically it's a website made by Greg, another badass dev who's heavily involved in the DAO. And it just shows you, it's like a ranked list of everybody who's got Twitter account with a .eth in the name. So we're all in there. It ranks us by Twitter followers at the top. You got your Jimmy Fallon, and that's what I did. I loaded that up. I was like, here, check this out. Jimmy Fallon rocks it, Unfortunately, Paris Hilton had already changed it at the time, but I threw her name out. Then it's like probably top, or maybe in top 10 still, Vitalik. Like Vitalik's got it. He's the creator of Ethereum. And then I sort of shift gears, and then I threw out like Budweiser has it, Puma has it, Hublot has it, and at that point it's sort of like, all right, you've convinced me. You got people like Jimmy Fallon, 50 million followers. You got Budweiser's, Hublots. I mean, he represents fighters, so they've been, sponsored, endorsed by Budweiser. Swiss Watches is big, and so that kind of shut down the conversation. And again, just throw out 00 and ENS Vision. Before I left their offices, I was only going to onboard the owners, the management firm, and one of the athletes. But before I left those offices, I taught them how, hey, we want to register these. How do we do it? So I taught them. Sure enough, what I did? I didn't go to ens.domains. I went to ENS Vision, and I showed them how to use that bulk registration tool. They registered 10 business names right in front of me before I left their office. And then that was on a Friday. On Saturday, I got a text in the morning. Hey, here's a list of athletes. Get what you can. 16 more of their athletes. The second time I went to their offices, got them their names, the athletes' names. I registered for them. And then it was like right there, they started looking for more. And one of the athletes they want, it's a female fighter, very famous. She probably got like 500,000 Twitter followers. And she's kind of she goes by these 3 initials, her 3 initials. And so we looked those initials up, and no, it's taken. And for whatever reason, I didn't bother, but he clicked through, and it was like, oh, it's owned by Bloom Capital. He didn't know who that was. And I started laughing right there in the office. I'm like, damn, I know Bloom. Hold on. Right there in the office. I hit up Bloom in DMs. I was like, make an offer on this domain. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I need it. And man, before I left the office, Bloom hit me back, right? He's like, he doesn't even know what's going on. And he just goes, you want that name? I'll give it to you. He just gave me a 3-letter just like that. And it's incredibly special. That is the community. That's this idea. Like, I onboarded these people, and it's a little struggle now to get them to use the names, but one of the owners uses the names. I've shown Kev, he's retweeted this space. He's liked some of these ENS posts. And so I'm still working on it. There's going to be opportunities. I think there's an opportunity with that one female fighter and the other fighter I originally wanted to do something with. So, on board. Flexter said it best, and then I'll let it go because I talk a lot. But it's God's work. It is, man. You onboard people. It doesn't matter if you're doing it one on one. Mass communicating. Honestly, forget who I did it with, but the idea is, it's brilliant. Go knock door to door. Again, we are not early. We are experts. You could go. I don't care. Everybody's got a business within walking distance. Walk to that business. Say, I could onboard you. Show them what's up. I mean, just if nothing else, to practice the pitch. And what I always tell people is, you're going to talk yourself into a job. You're going to find out, damn, these small businesses, they've got a website, but they don't manage it. They pay somebody else to do it. They've got social media. They don't manage it. They pay somebody else to do it. Guess what? That quote, right? Know where the world's going and get there first. They're all going to have ENS wallets and not know how to use it, or even if they do, they're going to pay other people to manage it for them, like their domains, like their email, like IT, like, social media, everything else. And boom, next thing you know, all you did was something that's going to benefit you, again, because it's decentralized. And then next thing you know, they're going to reach out to you and they're going to say, hey, build me a website. If you can do it, you just charge them. If you can't do it, there are people in this space who can, and you just gave a referral. So, I also shout out my boy Just Shills. He's helped me promote these spaces. I'm going to have this space Thursday with Greg. Like I said, the way I onboarded them was with the ETH leaderboard. That's what Greg has a grant for. That, it's a tool to onboard. We want to see him funded. So just come in, listen, please. And man, it's just, that's the community effort, as succinctly as I could do it. But I know I'm long-winded, so thank y'all for hearing me.
Thank you, ENS Punks. That was good, man. I think it makes sense, right? I like your point that you said we're experts. We are experts essentially, right? Or we're definitely not beginners. We're definitely not noobs to this, especially if you're in these spaces on a daily basis, and you're constantly listening, you're constantly learning. You know more than 99% of the population on this planet, and I'll even say more than 99.99% of the population on this planet about the Web3 space, just by even tuning into a couple of these spaces. I'm learning. We're all learning from each other every single day, right? So I love that we could literally go and probably be consultants for multiple companies trying to transition over to things of that nature. So, yeah, I like that, man. I like that. Just going over door knocking on local businesses and trying to get them on board. So, thank you, Punks. I think that makes sense. And the space yesterday, if you guys didn't check out the space with 3402 and ENS Punks yesterday, it was a really good one. We had one of the devs working on the name wrapper speak on that space, and man, that was a ton of alpha being dropped and a ton of just learning the more technical side of what's being done with that name wrapper, how they're actually developing it, what the future holds for. So that was pretty good information as well there. So definitely check that out if you haven't. Let's keep it moving right along. We have NFL champion. NFL champion, thanks for being patient. The stage is yours.
Appreciate it, Kev. Thank you very, very much for having me. What's going on, everybody? So I had a really brief question. I'm just really curious, just to give everybody background. I was a former market maker on Wall Street for about 10 years. So, getting into this space and really trying to understand whether it's crypto, NFTs, like when I came across like the whole ENS, it's madness to me and I love it. Like, I think this is genuinely going to like revolutionize the way that we do business, the way that commerce happens like in the future. There's so many I feel like there's new use cases coming out like every day. But my question is more for anybody on the panel that either has a finance background or trading background. Maybe Ron, you might be the best suited, but please feel free. Anybody, like, I'm really curious. When I'm looking at like these name, like these registrations, right? Whether it's the numbers or it's any type of name or letters. And I'm looking at where these sales are happening and how they're happening. And I brought this up yesterday in Unemployed Space. Shout out Unemployed, runs a dope ass space. If y'all didn't check it out, like definitely go check him and Just Shills out. Obviously, like you guys know that like they run one of the moneyest spaces. But we brought it up, and I wanted to kind of just get some more feedback on it in terms of painting the tape. And I think people kind of mix up painting the tape with a wash sale. What painting the tape is artificial volume, right? And I pose the question of what's real and what's fake? What is to prevent somebody from literally just creating volume where it ultimately, potentially, I'm not saying it does or doesn't, I think it could potentially just not exist. And there are certain instances where I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, like it doesn't really make that much sense. So I'm curious how. And I started looking at the Block Explorer. Like I've been reading Etherscan for a couple of years now. So I'm just now starting to kind of like dig in and kind of like follow these trails and see like where is the money originating from, like what's what. And I have a couple of buddies that are some of these blockchain anthropologists that are going to probably jump in and help me out with it, because I think it's important that like this community, like you don't want to, like if we, I don't want to say grow, but if people get a little bit, if it is something that's nefarious or a bad actor and it grows too fast, this becomes a bubble and then it sets us back. Like all the good work that everybody's talking about here this morning, that sets us back, you know, an unnecessary amount of time. So I'm curious how, yeah, like what kind of take you guys maybe have on that. Yeah, in terms of like there being artificial like pumps going on and like registrations going on, or rather sales going on, and how you view that like in the overall marketplace.
Yeah, NFT champ. That's a great question. And I mean, the short answer is on the blockchain 99.9% of the time. If you want to spend the time, we can catch that. And the other thing is with a few minutes of, if you know what you're doing with a few minutes, 99% of the time you can find it within 5 minutes, if you know what you're doing. So we definitely call it out. It's definitely, and the other thing is if it's a secondary marketplace, they're paying 2.5% on looks rare, so it's not as prevalent as you'd think. But most of our 3-digit volume, and right now too, another thing I'll tell you too is we're way early, right? We're way early. We're like internet. I mean, I still think we're like .com with the NFT with the ENS space. I still think we're like early 90s, if you were to compare it directly. I don't know how old you are, but direct. I got involved in the .com in 93. So, I kind of compare us to those early levels, right? So, but right now, most of the 3-digit, the 4-digit, the Arabic, that's where the liquidity is. And that's because of, you see a guy named 00 on the stage, him and Furion and his team, they built a website called ens.vision, which is now a marketplace. But early on, like 6 months ago when we first started these spaces, it was just kind of, they were just pulling the data and making it easy for us to read. And we broke it up into different clubs, i.e. 999 club. That's the 3 digits. There's 999. The 10K club, that's the 4 digits. And then there's the 3-digit Arabic clubs. And they made it easy for us to access it, and we minted them out in a matter of days. And some of them are like, Harry Potter club and whatever, right? But anyway, that's why there's liquidity there. And other than that, I would tell someone we're too early to start trading. Like I own like 1,000 of them myself. I've maybe sold 4. And I'm not even trying to sell them because I feel like we're years down the road. But if you did want to trade, that's where the only real liquidity is on those really right now, the 3 digits and the 4 digits. But yeah, but it's not as it's easy to spot if you know what you're doing, and we look down on it. We're not about that. You see it a lot more even in the shit coins. Over the last 4 or 5 years, lots of wash trading. There's a lot of that happens, right? And you can't always tell it because sometimes there's centralized exchanges. But yeah, it's not really a problem right now. But we call that bullshit out, and we can usually spot it right away. Like early on there was a domain that went for like 400 ETH or 500 ETH, and we all called it out as bullshit. We just look at the wallets, which wallets they came from. Unless they really hide their tracks, we can call it out early. But
it's a great marketing
I think,
ploy, right, Gary? Right, Ron? Isn't it a great marketing? For the right price, if it's cheap enough, it's like a great marketing tool, isn't it?
Well, yeah. In fact, I believe, maybe Flexed or someone in the space can call it out. But like for example, before you notice the PFP I'm rocking here, and it's called NFT Maxis. It's a week or so old project. The first thing they did was buy their domain for some stupid price, right? And I 100% believe they did that just as a guerrilla marketing thing. They paid like 102 ETH for NFT maxis.eth or whatever. And I believe that was 100% a ploy, and I never bothered me. Some people got bent out of shape about it. I just saw it was. But yeah, it is. I mean, okay, let's give a real world example of that NFT champ. Let's say this morning, okay, let's say I own KuCoin, KuCoin.eth, okay? And or no, sorry, LooksRare. LooksRare is the main one. If you know much about NFTs, the main one is OpenSea's. Their main competitor is LooksRare. Okay, LooksRare.eth. They're doing, they've expressed an interest in wanting to buy it. So it's listed on their competitor for a 2.5%. You'd have to pay for 50 ETH. Somebody went on today and made a offer for that for 50 ETH on LooksRare. We assume that is, from looking at and tracking the wallets, we assume that's really LooksRare. They just don't want to buy it from their competitor, right? But what if it's just the guy? What if it's just the guy that owns LooksRare.eth trying to pump his own bag? Because I honestly thought about buying it for 50 and listing it on LooksRare for 60. Just to get the deal done. That went through my mind this morning. And then I thought, well, shit, what if someone just to get it done and get the deal done and protect them, from someone buying it and charging 1,000, like Master said. But yeah, it's a good technique. It happens, but it's usually pretty easy to spot. But yeah,
Yeah,
it
I'm
would
good. Like,
definitely
I'm
be a
good
good
with
thing.
that. Yeah, Ron, I'm good with that. Like, if it's the marketing thing and people are upfront and they're upfront about it, right? Like, if like, hey, you're going to use this to pump your project and you're going to pay the fee, like, go for it. Like, I'm all for that. I don't have an issue with that. Where my thing is like not my issue. Where like my suspicion lies is like how like are people genuinely going to get hurt and like how are they going to be able to spot this stuff? Because let's be honest, there's a million different combinations of numbers and letters that you can obviously go with, and I think like to what Seekmine like speaks to like every day here. Like I hear him, it's like, listen, like you're gonna go with like these fads or this or that, like be careful. And I think that's super important. But as you start getting into the higher digits, whether it's palindromic numbers, 10 digits, 12 digits, 15 digits, like how high is it gonna go? And like how, because like if it's starting now here, like I just think it's something for people to be cognizant of, and it's something that me and a couple of my buddies are taking pretty serious. And we built a tool for another NFT project that I'm a part of, and it's essentially like an insights tool that is reverse engineering a lot of blockchain data to be able to give you super valuable insights. And I think it's going to be applicable here for ENS.
100%. That would be stuff like that is
Yep.
great, right? Even if it's 80% accurate, that would be a great little tool to have, and I think we'd all use it because yeah, even if it says, hey, you could have like a red to green gauge, you know what I mean? And hey, this is a little fishy. I mean, that would be doable to do, and I think something like that with a quickly readable interface would be a great project. I would certainly use it. That would be yeah, just like what you're talking about. That would be great for people to have.
Awesome. Yeah, no, we're super psyched about it. It's shout out to the VV fam that's in here right now. But I also want to give other shout outs to, I know like Gary was super helpful. He's been coming to all my spaces. They put me on to the ENS DAO, and I had no idea that I was eligible for a potential grant of money. I don't know how much money it is, but like I went on there, filled out an application, took me 20-25 minutes, and I'm now having an open conversation with them with an active application for a potential grant, like for money to just teach people, which is what I'm doing now. Literally, like I've run 6 different ENS spaces probably this past week, so I just want to give them a shout out, Slobo, and obviously Unemployed. Like you guys are dope. I just want to say I appreciate
Yeah,
everybody.
look,
Thank you.
this space is awesome because of the expertise we have. Like, look, I happen to been the CEO of a publicly traded company and helped a few go public, and so I kind of understand what you're asking. But Gary and Master were literally here from day one, 00. His dev team. I mean, they have changed the space. I believe that going from 1 to 2 million without ENS.vision could have taken 6 months to a year. With ENS vision and rallying the community, it only took 3 months. So you're right. That's what makes this space powerful. It's not even though Kevin's the best damn host I've ever heard on a space. It's the
I take
people
offense
that are
to that.
Yeah, and shout out
Sorry,
ENS Vision.
yeah,
These
you know
guys
what
are
I'm
dope.
saying. It's a great for that reason. And yeah, Gary, man, there's nothing gets by Gary and Master, these guys, because they've been doing it. And ENS Punks, he's heavily involved in the DAO, and we all need to be more involved. And yeah, glad you're here. Look forward. I just follow you, so I'll follow some of your spaces. We all support each other too. Every project, we're very supportive. This is truly a grassroots movement. Unlike what you see, there's not really influencers in this space, just a bunch of people wanting to move the cause forward.
Appreciate it, Ron. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the time. Thanks, Kev.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Man, the show always gets the most active when it hits about after 12:10. Everybody wants to speak. Everybody requests to come up, and you're like, gentlemen, we only have 10 minutes left in time. But the good thing is, probably could extend it just a tad bit. I know we all have things to do, so let's go. I believe Bashara was next. Let's go, and we'll go to AI scholars, and then just Shills.
What's up, GM, everybody? I was I just want to drop in real quick, tell everybody that I was doing my morning read as always, and going through a lot of shit that I read every day, and I read a lot about real estate in general, and I came across a very interesting post this morning, and I tweeted about it, about the median home prices back in the 70s versus the income, the ratio, and this year, and the median home prices, right? The versus it was 6 times the income, the annual income. Right now, it's about over 10, 12, 15, 20 times the annual income. Meaning, what I'm getting out of this, back then in the 70s, 60s, my aunt, everybody, they got fucking rich off of real estate. Was their game, right? It was the lazy man's game, the lazy rich man's game. It still is, right? But it had a bigger boom back then. That's what I'm trying to get. It was a lot more attainable to them than us as younger crowd. But for every generation, they have their own opportunities, and I just want to say that if you guys know that, if you realize how big of opportunity we have in our hands right now, with the Web3 boom and everything, and Ron keeps going on and on about the .com, and he witnessed the whole thing, back in the 90s and the early 2000s. This is another boom, and this is another milestone that's in the builds, and we can get our hands on these assets, right? Right here, we're talking about ENS, and a lot of people realize how big opportunity that we have right here. You grab as many grails as you can, as fast as you can, honestly, and acquire assets. Like assets, sit on them, wait for years, get rich. It is that simple. Okay, ENS, a lot of the grails are like literally gonna be assets, right? I always talk about liability because from a cost perspective, but the grails will appreciate in time with more demand. And we've seen more demand, and it's not guaranteed, but it's 99% guaranteed to this point, right? that we're witnessing more and more and more demand, and everybody's moving to this digital realm and digital, crypto realm, whether it's individuals, businesses, or enterprises like huge corporations. They're moving towards that direction, and with more demand comes, appreciation in value. So understand the ENS, aspect of it. Understand that there are some certain types of assets in this freaking space, and acquire as much as you can from everything, all the grails. If you can get your hands on it, do that. And that is a financial advice, even though I'm not a financial advisor. But as an investor, um, I highly suggest that do your research, your own research, and definitely dive into this space even more.
Look, I want to say one quick comment on what Shara said, and most of you have probably seen it by now. But last week, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, 2 of the 4 founders were being interviewed, and the guy asked them about ENS and how it's so exciting, and they said, Garza said, "Yeah, I think ENS is the purest form of digital real estate." It's not even his project, but it's a fact.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I think for sure. I think you make great points, right? I think I just want to touch on that real quick and how important this is. It's there was no crypto, right? In back in the 70s, the average person couldn't even invest in the stock market, right? It's not until they had Robinhood and all these apps that made investing in the stock market easy and obtainable to the average person. Um, is when that even started happening. But there was no crypto. There was no average person having access to the stock market. There was no ENS grails, or there was not even any .com investments back in the 70s. So what was the primary form of investment? Probably was the housing market, right? Um, so I think Bashar makes great points. We're living in a new age. We're living in a digital age. We're entering the digital era. Since we could go way back to 1990, or whenever the first computer or when the internet was first made public, to now, humans have been spending more and more time every single year over year, on digital devices. It's a fact, right? As the years go on, we spend more time on digital devices. We spend more time on the internet. Is consuming our lives more and more. Imagine where that will be in 20 years, right? I was fortunate enough. I was the first generation, actually. My generation was the first generation to experience social media in middle school. So I went through elementary school without having social media. And then in middle school is when MySpace started becoming popular. And that all honestly changed everything. It changed everything. So I know a world of before social media and post social media. Kids now don't know a world without internet. They don't know a world without social media. You have 5-year-olds with Instagram accounts. You have 5-year-olds with TikTok accounts. You have 5-year-olds going 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 home from school, going turning on their PlayStation and turning on Fortnite and buying digital currency to buy digital skins. This is all they know. This is all Gen Zers know. All they know is this digital world. All they know is digital assets. They're being programmed and trained for the world of NFTs by the time they hit 18, 19 years old, whatever that is. So, Bashar, you make a great point there, man. I think the return on investment, if you invest wisely over the course of the next 10 to 15 years, is going to be massive, massive, massive return. Let's go over to AI scholars, and then let's go over to Just Shills. Go ahead, AI.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Love these spaces and the alpha that gets dropped here daily. First time I found out about ENS Vision was in here, actually, and it was a great tool. I just want to say, first off, NFL Charmer, you might want to look into a product that Chainalysis sells. It's called Y-React or Reactor, and it's basically a forensic tool for, analyzing all on-chain activity. So you can trace a wallet across multiple networks, multiple chains. And if you really want to get like that deep into the nitty-gritty of who's buying, who's selling, and so on and so forth, it's a great tool to have. But that being said, if people are entering this space and they're just entering because they see other people making money and they just kind of want to ride the train, then I feel like there is a level of negligence on their part that the NFT community as a whole cannot be held accountable for. And it doesn't matter if you're buying an NFT that's a PFP project, if it's an ENS domain or whatever it is. At the end of the day, these are digital assets, and it's not any dissimilar from buying traditional assets. So if you don't do your research and you don't understand what's happening, more likely than not, yes, you're going to lose your money. And plenty of people have lost their money in the previous cycles with just regular cryptocurrencies that they didn't understand what the project was about. And 80% of them failed during the last bear cycle. They're no longer here. A perfect example would be like Dashcoin. I know it was like at one point 1,500 and it never rebounded because it never lived up to its promise. So you really have to do your own research here and understand that you are investing in a form of technology. Technology does. For example, with ENS, I can say that, you know, it's a payment gateway, it's a website, it's now maybe a month ago I updated my ENS domains to have, PFPs, NFTs as PFPs, which is freaking amazing when you think about it. Um, and then it also has a coin that actually has a source of revenue via, renewing your ENS domain contracts, right? There's a subscription model behind that coin as well. So if you do really do your research and you understand the technology behind blockchain, behind the NS domains, behind what's happening, then you're less likely to make a poor decision. And I just feel like that's probably the most important thing we can do as a community is just educate people to understand what they're getting into.
I second that, AI Scholar. I'm actually the one out here trying to teach everybody as best I can to the best of my ability. Whether it's like the novice, and we're all novices at a certain point. I don't think we're all any of us experts in anything when it comes to blockchain because it's changing so fast. But I'm 100% with you. I want to help move this space forward. I want to educate as many people as possible. I think the education gap is the biggest area of opportunity for us. One last, you said it was Y Reactor.
So Chainalysis, right? They have a product called Reactor.
Okay.
You can get in touch with their, B2B side of things. I believe there's a yearly subscription fee. But yes, there is a tool that they sell for enterprise solutions to be able to basically do on-chain forensics. They're not the only one. They were the people who can basically take a Bitcoin mixer transaction and reverse engineer it to find out what happened. It's incredible. They had a couple of demos at some of the conferences, and it's mind blowing what they can do nowadays. And yeah, so if you really want to get that thorough, I think you should probably reach out to them because they're your best bet to finding out the information that you want to get.
I'd be really curious to see what it is because we're building a similar tool because we're doing it for on IMX and we're doing it for one project and then probably going to scale out to a bunch of others because the blockchain data only tells you so much. It's how you extrapolate and obviously interpret that data that really gives you like the juicy insights. So this is dope, man. I appreciate the help, man. Thank you, AI Scholar. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, AI Scholars. That was good. We'll keep the show moving right along. Let's go over to Just Shills. Just Shills, the stage is yours.
Hello, Kev. How are you doing today? Hello, community. Guys, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes,
sir.
Awesome. Guys, first of all, 5159, thank you for hosting the space. Ron, thank you. Master, Gary Palmer Jr., Ianus Punks, Flexter. Bishara, I always get to hear really good resources from you, man. So thank you for keep doing what you're doing, man. That due diligence is something like music to my ears, and I'm sure for many across the board. So yeah, man, it is what it is, and you have that elegance. So hopefully we'll be able to connect someday. NFL champ, bro, you were there at the space last night, and I really like how you do things, man. It's something that aligns with how I want to be able to have like Just Shield's vision and mission statement, where you continue to create value for others in the community. So this way, there's more transparency somehow to this platform. But I do want to say something real quick. Yesterday, we were in the space with Prem, one of the devs. I really liked what he was doing and how he was very pure guy. Just one line answers and straight to the point. And I really liked how Gary Palmer Jr. was there as well. I did ask Prem one question, which was regarding multiple subdomains. Um, and then he said, "Oh, that is something maybe that the 00 Coin and team will look into." So maybe I'll just redirect this question to 00 Coin. I'm not sure if this question was asked or not, but I was trying to figure out if there was a way to create multiple subdomains. Like, how you're able to register multiple ENS domains. And I was just trying to figure out if, you have a .eth address. Was there a way to create multiple ENS subdomains on that platform? Just very curious. And also just wanted to let you guys know that Crypto Expo Dubai, they retweeted about Just Chills today. I'm just waiting for a call back for one more call with them. And I was also able to acquire their ENS domain, and something to do as a good of heart. So I'm gonna see how the conversation goes, and hopefully we should be able to get them on board. And I think that would be one of uh, the most humbling experience for myself. But that's just not for me. That goes to the entire community here, is because of your sources and your information, and obviously what just ENS Punks shared of how he was able to connect with many people and how he shared data with them and how he was able to give them their ENS names. I'm sure there are many out there like ENS Punks, and I just want to say thank you for allowing Just Shills to be part of the community. Because of you guys and the knowledge you share, you were able to steer Just Shills in a very positive area, and I just want to say thank you for that. Truly appreciate it.
I'm not sure what you mean by multiple subdomains. What does, like, I'm not sure how to answer that question. How can you make a subdomain from a subdomain? Is that what you're asking?
Or maybe he means like multiple from the same root domain, if I'm not mistaken, at the same
Correct.
time.
Yes, I got rugged. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me. Yes, my question was, let's say if you have a justshills.eth address, is there a tool to create multiple subdomains? Let's say, for example, 5159.5159.justshills, Ron Just Shills, Master, 00 Coin, like something along those lines.
Yes, that's going to be available. Yes.
I think Prem was saying that if you wanted to create a ton of names at the very same time, then that just takes like a lot of management, and it's different than just minting one name at a time or just having people go and mint some names. And so just the management of name minting and how this is all going to work, which I know 00 and team are working on, but huge opportunity for lots of people to build registrars in between the registrar contract and the end user. And ENS.vision way ahead of the game. So I definitely recommend that everyone start getting involved.
I appreciate that, Gary. So you mean like
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, 00 Coin.
doing a bulk registering for subdomains? Is that what you're asking generally?
He's been having issues with his what's it called yesterday in his space. He wasn't hearing certain people, so he might not be able to hear you. Shields, you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm able to hear you. I was able to hear Gary as well.
But not 00?
No, I don't know why.
Okay,
but...
he's asking essentially, like, were you asking about like a bulk tool for creation of subdomains?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
All right, cool.
100%. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Hey,
I apologize.
we got workarounds. We'll figure it out.
Actually, we'll make a announcement on the subdomain marketplace, how that would work. So we'll go more into details as soon as the wrapper's out.
Sure, he says he's gonna make an announcement as soon as the wrappers go out. So keep your head on the swivel, boy.
Awesome,
right?
bro. Thank you. And 00 Coin, I'm sorry, bro. I don't know why I'm not able to hear you. I had a similar problem yesterday, and thank you, NFL champ. That's what happens when you're surrounded by legends and leaders in these upcoming spaces, because you're always tight, you're always communicating, you're effectively sharing the thoughts, and this is what happens when you stay around winners. There's always another winner who's going to be able to be there to support you and help you and make them understand, clarify scenarios, and just thank you so much. This really means a lot. And 00 Coin, once again, I apologize.
Awesome. Thank you, Just Shills. Let's go over to Flex.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry to take up your time. And speaking of that, I heard you guys talking. Zero, is there any way to do multiple re-registrations or multiple renewals?
That's coming out shortly. That will be an update to the bulk registration, which will be completely updated. So that bulk registration alone will have many new features. So that alone will have, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 additional features, but bulk extension is going to be one of those features.
And Flex,
Okay,
you
thank
could
you.
use it on the ENS site right now, right? You could do the mass renewal on the actual ENS domain page.
No, actually, I did not know that.
Oh, I was just checking if you were seeing if it was a feature that 00 was coming out with. But yeah, you can actually do that on the ens.domain site right now, and it's literally a simple click of the button, depending on where you're. If all your domains are in, let's say, one wallet, there's literally a simple checkbox, right, that says click here, and it highlights every single one of them, and then you can go individually and obviously uncheck the ones you don't want to renew. But if you want to renew everything, it's literally the click of a box, and then you just hit. You hit the blue button. I forgot if it says set or
Okay.
renew or
I see it here. Yeah, no, I see it here. Oh man, thank you so much. I'm sure everybody knows in the room. I'm old, man. I'm over 50, so I'm learning from all you guys sitting here. I can't thank all of you enough for this alpha, man. Like I learn so much every day from every single one of these spaces. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. 5159, can you check your DMs, bro?
Yeah, right now. Let me see. I don't see nothing in there. Oh, I see it. Yeah, go ahead, bro. All good. I didn't see that, man.
Is that okay? Can I do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey guys, as you know, I'm an ENS Maxi, man, top 1,000 holders, and I'm going to represent Maxis. I had no idea what a PFP was. No idea. Like I said, I'm an old ass man. I thought a PFP was like a cartoon picture that people are spending 100 grand on. So I'm really into my project. So I'm just you just crazy, just right out of the box. I'm gonna scroll down the page. No disrespect to anybody, but I'm gonna look at everybody's page that does not have a maxi, and I'm actually just gonna give you one, man. I just want to do a giveaway real quick. I want to shoot a maxi to somebody that doesn't have one. How about let's check this guy who just has a no, I don't even know if that's a real person. Let's go here.
Clap if you want to. Clap if you want a free maxi.
Yeah, clap if you want a free maxi. Shit. I just want to try to find somebody that don't have a maxi. I want to shoot them one. NFT champs. Yours is the wait, Punks. Punks, do you have a maxi, bro?
No ENS Maxi, but I can't.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
I gotta
Done.
do the right thing. I gotta buy in and support the right way.
Well, dude, you're gonna support the right way here.
Hey, I got Punks. You give it to someone else, Flexter. I'll take
All
care
right,
of
you got Punks. I'm gonna give mine then to NF. What is that? NFL. I'm fucking blind too. Oh my god. I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna do it. Yo, I appreciate it, Flex. It's NFL champion. I don't know why everyone mistakes it for NFT, right? It's NFL champion. But yo, I appreciate that, and I'm gonna do a giveaway with my community, and I'm gonna go out and I'll purchase one from you guys because there's a bunch of them that came in here to obviously support me and learn about ENS, and they're supporting this cause too. So I appreciate
all
that.
right,
Thank you.
Man, you're all right, brother. You're all right. Let's go over here right now. Let me do this real quick. I know Kev 5159 space is running a little bit long.
Everyone clap again. Everyone clap again if you want one.
You know what, man? And you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Actually, this is what I'm going to do. Because in my opinion, I feel that this project is bridging the gap between domain holders and PFP holders. Because I feel that way, I'm going to send you not only the PFP, I'm going to send you the ENS domain name to go with it. Okay, so that you own both of them, because I have named most of mine. Okay, I've named most of mine. So let's see here. Let's see here. How about I'm going to send you the yoinkster. All right. We use the word yoink over in a lot of spaces. Okay, we use the word yoink in a lot of our spaces on Maxis when we get a really good deal. So I own yoinkster.eth, and that is attached to a charcoal background, orange Ethereum name service ring, Walking Dead sheriff outfit on a dark-skinned dude with blue glasses, and pardon my language, but his hairdo is called fuckboy. Okay, the hairdo is called fuckboy hairdo.
You have
So I'm
no
gonna.
idea how many of my ex-girlfriends are gonna get a fucking kick out of that one, boy. Thank you.
You're welcome, bro. So let's do this right now. Let me go to him.
And hey, I'm sad because you're so old and so slow, even though you're younger than me. I'm sending one to OPE.eth as well. So I'm sending one to Punks, and I'm sending one to OPE. So I'll reach out in the DMs to those two. So just because
Nice.
you're old
Okay.
doesn't mean you're slow. So quit blaming on your age.
And NFL champion, your wallet address, your primary, your reverse record is NFLchampion.eth.
Yeah, let me DM you. If you can, send it to the other one. It just makes my life a little bit easier. It's DCBK2LA. That's my Twitter handle.
Hold
So
on,
right
hold on. No,
underneath
no,
NFL
no, no.
champion.
I'm not here to make it easier for you. I'm here to make it easier for me. Okay.
So whatever my Twitter handle is,
Is
you see my Twitter handle?
Is NFLchampion.eth your wallet address that ends in 6231, bro?
It's not set as primary, but I can go do
Oh
it. Just
shit!
give me.
No,
Yeah, but no.
don't.
Look
Give
at
me.
my Twitter handle. Look at my Twitter handle right underneath it.
I'm
The
too
actual
old for
name.
that. I'm too old for that. Holler it out to me right now. I'm typing it in.
D is in David.
Yep.
C is Charlie. B
Yep.
is in boy.
Yep.
K is in kite. The
Yep.
number 2.
Yep.
LA.
LA.eth.
Yes, sir.
That's a trash show,
Delta
man.
Charlie Bravo Kilo 2 Lima Alpha.
Wait. This is scary.
Lima Alpha.
Did someone just
Hey,
try to give somebody money and their Twitter handle or their ENS name? They're like, no, don't use my ENS name. That
No, it's not my primary. It's not my primary. You could send it. It's fine. But yes,
will
it
it
was my
go
primary.
well, it doesn't have to be your primary name. Does it?
I know.
Does it have like when the list of cryptocurrency addresses? Does it have your Ethereum address or the previous person?
Yeah. I updated all the records. Believe me.
Oh,
Ain't
so
going to nobody
it'll
else.
go to you. I'm just gonna say, okay, for everyone else on the call, if you have an ENS name and if you're gonna use it as your identity, for the love of everything Web3, please make sure that shit's going to you. There's people tipping you mofos, and it's going to some dude, and some dude's like, why am I getting this money? Right? It's like, and the person you're sending it to has no idea because that shit might not be set up correctly. So that's halfway. That's halfway.
Gary,
Hilarious.
let me push my
That's
office
halfway
hours.
hilarious.
It's a free office hours. Let me push my Twitter handle for a hot second, bro.
oh man, you guys are so much fun. Kev, thank you. Or, I'm sorry, 5159. Thank you so much for letting me do this. Okay, brother. So yoinkster.eth has been transferred. Now give me that address again so I can transfer your ENS Maxi PFP.
Ooh, it's DCBK, the number 2, LA.
Dottie. All right, brother. Well,
That's why you should join,
congratulations.
Flex. Thank you very much, Flex. That's really thoughtful of you. Thank you
No,
very much.
man. I want to thank 5159 for letting me do this and letting me help promote this project. Guys, we have a lot of suspicions. They call me Conspiracy Maxi over in a lot of these spaces. For the sheer fact I go down the rabbit holes. In our opinion, we think that this is going to be one of the first PFPs that launches into sort of like a video game and transforms and does all this stuff. It's suspicion. It is suspicion, not financial advice, nothing. But there's too many clues that this team is dropping on us that ENS and ENS maxis are supposed to be hand in hand. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Step away from the crack pipe. Step away from the crack pipe.
Right. Got you, Ron. Okay, so 5159, thank you so much for letting me do that. Transfer is complete. NFL champion, you now own yoinkster.eth, and you own your first Maxi PFP to go along with it. Bless you guys, and I appreciate you letting me do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Next time you see me, I'm gonna be the yoinkster.eth, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's up.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
5159. I just want to share something, guys. I know you were calling out the alphabets, but it would be so much easier if you just copy paste the data over, because you don't want someone to have a typo. Just wanted to put that out there. But I know all the geniuses here, but yeah, please do just type it up, copy paste it, and send it so you can prevent mistakes from happening.
Chills, you don't gotta make them feel older.
So just shows has that's not everything is good and everything is bad, right? So it's not bad advice. It's just, I want you to think about this. If a scammer was to send you their address and say there's a scammer, Gary, and they're like, hey, yeah, my name's Gary Palmer Jr.F. Copy and paste my address and send me this money. Send me 1 Ethereum. I'm going to send you 10 Ethereum back, which I would never do. When you copy and paste that address, you're like, all right, it really says it could have a 0 with joiner. And so you have to be careful about copying and pasting. At the same time, you have to be careful about making typos. And you got to be careful about copying and pasting, because you could have a thing in your, like a virus in the copy paster, where if it sees an ENS name or a 0x address and it replaces it, so you have to double check it anyways. But so basically there's a risk no matter what you do, and so no matter what you do, you just gotta be careful.
Thank you, Gary. Holy snap, man. See, I learned something new again today. So Gary, thank you, man. See, you going to so many layers is not even funny, man. Take it away, bro. Sorry, 519.
All good, man. The speakers are having a little too much fun today on the panel. I would say this, though. I just wanted to make just one quick announcement. It looks like 3 and 4 digit Arabic tokens have been fractionalized on Mal Finance, and they're skyrocketing through the roof. I'm just seeing a tweet about this. I have to go do a little bit more research on this, and we'll probably go ahead and talk about that on tomorrow's Spaces. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen,